And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
Hello, RBLR Nation. Hey, we're feeling a lot better this week. Regardless of the first 3.5 quarters, the Bucs won. It's an exciting time to be a Bucs fan again. It's always fun to watch Tom Brady do his thing in the last 2 minutes, especially in remarkable fashion like that, and especially against a division rival like the Saints. You gotta love to see it, and I know my two co-hosts love to see it too. My boy Santiago Pombo, say what's up to the people, Santiago. Let them know how excited you are.
What's up, Carter? What's up, RBLR Nation? Super excited. Yeah, I was at the edge of my seat, and then we were playing. It was like amazing, but you have to watch it till the end because you just never know what's gonna happen, right? And I'm glad that was positive for us. We definitely needed this win back at 500. We're gonna discuss that and on to our next opponent, which is a tough opponent. So let's see what's gonna happen. Let's go, Bucs, baby. Let's go.
For sure. Love the enthusiasm as always, Santiago. And now on to the smooth, docet tones of Mr. Musab. Say what's up to the people, Musab. How you doing?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? As always, happy to be here with both of y'all, Santiago, Carter, and what an absolute Monday night it was for us. Seriously. Hey, listen, I've been saying roller coaster of emotions when it comes to seasons, but I think I have to say this is the first time where I really felt a roller coaster of emotions just in one quarter, just in the last few minutes. Oof, I don't know where to start, but Carter, Santiago, I look forward to talking about some Tampa Bay football with y'all.
Indeed. I'm with you. It's definitely a lot brighter this week than it was last week, simply because of the win. It's always fun to talk about Bucs football after a win. But obviously we've talked about it to death. We'll get into it. The Bucs took the victory at home Monday night, as Musab mentioned, against the New Orleans Saints. It was a key divisional matchup, and they managed to sneak away with the victory due to a Tom Brady-led game-winning drive at the end of the game. He threw a touchdown pass to rookie running back Rachaad White. Another comeback victory. The last comeback victory they had against the Rams, it kind of sparked a little winning streak, a mini one, a small one. Hopefully they're doing the same. I gotta say, it's a lot similar characteristics if we look at this 2-game stretch because they're going to be playing the NFC West division leaders, similar to how they played the Seahawks last time. But anyways, we'll focus on the Saints game first. So we'll have to start at the beginning of the game because these first 3.5 quarters, I just remember sitting there and just thinking, good God, we're having to watch this shit again. Like, it was an awful performance by the Bucs offensively. Brady looked just scared. He threw an interception, which it was only the Saints' third interception of the season so far. He just looks unwilling to push the ball downfield. So for those first 3.5 quarters, we'll have to focus on the bad because let's face it, there was a lot of it. It's great to get the victory, great to see that. We'll get into that, but we got to start with the bad because, like I said, there was a lot of it. So what can the Bucs do to fix this offense? We've kind of talked about it to death, but now they've lost Tristan Wirfs. Now they've got 3 offensive linemen that are injured and the 2 that are healthy. One of them's one of the worst at his positions, Donovan Smith. What can they do to get better? What can they do to fix this? Is it on Tom? Is it on the play calling? What is it? Santiago, we'll start with you, brother. What can the Bucs do to turn this ship around, metaphorically speaking?
It's tough, man, because it's what can they do? To be honest with you, gentlemen, obviously we don't want anybody to get injured, right? But it's a brutal sport that we always know and we love. They have to have a better, I remember when Peyton Manning was quarterbacking, like a lot of times Peyton, when he would play as a quarterback, like he was well in command, like Brady would be, of controlling the offense. Like, I believe that the coaching staff sometimes would give him control of certain plays, or speak that with him. I remember when he did that in Indianapolis, he was very well known for that. Because I heard that before, and I know that Brady is a general, obviously in the NFL. He's the ultimate quarterback, right? But I know that I heard at the end of this game with the Saints, like there was some back and forth about the last play, going to see what can be done. Byron Leftwich was giving an idea, and Brady's like, maybe no. It's and obviously, they agreed on a play, which was ended up, throwing a slant pass to Chris Godwin down the sideline, to get out of bounds really quick, and then obviously, Rashad White with that tremendous, touchdown, man, that just it erupted. It was like silent, like shock. And then, whoa, And I remember when Chris Godwin, that one play that Brady threw into the end zone, I was like literally jumping up and down. And all of a sudden, like, they had the hold call on Donovan Smith. And I'm like, man, like, really? Like, why does this have to happen this way? It was like, why? I understand, but it's just, please, I didn't want there to be any type of a call, right? And then that occurred. But, at the end of the day, it's just, I don't know. Like, what do you think, Musab, or what do you think? Like, it's just there's issues with the play calling sometimes. That's my point. It's really my point.
Brady needs to have more of a vocal leadership role in play calling. Musab, what about you? You agree with Santiago on that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I feel like, with all due respect, I mean, I'm not even trying to even come at Santiago. I mean, listen, man, if you're the old line, man, you got Tom Brady being your quarterback, you best believe you better put in your hard work. And Carter, you mentioned, we're dealing with injuries on the O line. For me, I think it's more pressure, slash, we're still trying to, really get that chemistry going on. Sometimes it's just, not exactly what, us fans expect. Okay. Maybe in the beginning of the season, ideally. This reminds me of a lot of other situations in other sports as well. But, what I'm thinking, it's just that, we perhaps are thinking, oh, my God, look, we got Julio Jones. Oh, my God, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage. And now we have these solid depth pieces who have come, who have come through before in the past. And, oh, my God, we're set. But, you have to think about other things. Okay, well, what about the O-line? How are all these guys going to look good? How is Tom Brady going to look good if the O-line is not protecting him? So for me, it's just more about we just have to do better with protection on top of overall with execution. I'm not going to say, hey, just blame it on just one side, but it's a two-part relationship the way I kind of see it. And more importantly, at this point, I feel that, hey, listen, Tom Brady is going to have his mistakes here and there, of course, but it's more on kind of the O-line, the wide receivers, the tight ends of, trying to execute to the best of their ability, trying to make some opportunity really happen. More than anything, that's really what it was on both sides, Saints and the Buccaneers offense, mad sloppy. I feel like the Saints was kind of obvious that it was going to be like this. Going against those Buccaneers, of course, especially with that defense we have. But our offenses, we just have a lot of work to do, So we'll see how it goes, but there are some changes needed to be made. And on top of that, more aggressiveness. We have to show more heart out there, as motivational or as inspirational as I don't want to make it sound. It's kind of really obvious, if the depth pieces we have are not executing, we have to find someone else then. We have to make moves, and perhaps this is kind of our little eye-opener. Perhaps we scrape it on. But, I can go on and on, Carter and Santiago, but let's just play game by game. And, we're going through, some hot contender in the NFC West, of course, and this should be an eye-opener. Even though we won, this should be an eye-opener as to, what we continue to do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I think that's a great point about the execution. I think it's definitely a twofold thing. Santiago, you definitely focused on the play calling, which is a great point. The play calling has definitely been heavily criticized by the general public, and rightfully so. I mean, we saw this interview with Byron Leftwich today, where a lot of his answers were centered around the fact that whoever scores more points wins games, and it's like, oh man, what what an interesting philosophical revelation. So, but yeah, I mean, definitely the execution needs to be improved and the play calling seems to be picked up, I guess. But it's interesting because the Bucs, like we said, we focused on the negatives, but the positives is that the Bucs seem to run a 2-minute drill almost more efficiently than anyone else in the NFL, and they really seem to be running the 2-minute drill more efficient than their regular offense. So the question has to be brought up. Like, people have to ask, and they've been asking the coaches throughout this week. Do the Bucs need to run more hurry up? Like, do the Bucs just need to go tempo? Do they need to stop going into huddle? I mean, does this need to happen? Bowles has seemed hesitant to do so because it's going to exhaust the defense. The defensive mind coach, so of course his mind goes there. But at this point, what other options do they have? Because come playoff time, such performances aren't going to cut it. So the question needs to be asked. Santiago, we'll start with you. Do you think that the Bucs need to go more hurry up, and why? Or do you maybe think that they more?
Well, I saw the interview. Today Brady had an interview. His regular interviews that he does at One Buck, and they asked him that specific question
Right.
about the hurry up play, about the hurry up. And he's like, "Would you? You can do it. You can do that type of a play, but not make it obvious. Not always, always, always. It's like similar to like blitzing. Would you blitz on every play?" He was given that he was comparing those two things. Um, I don't know, man. It's just, to be honest with you, I really don't know. I would just, man, it's been rough because last year we were super explosive with, we were, in the top of the league with offense and everything like that. We were just, everything was clicking. This year has been really, really rough, gentlemen. So
Yeah.
it's, it's tough, man, because, the play calling has been so bad. It was really rough that on prime time. And it was just like,
Right.
man, it was like so frustrating, getting through. I wanted us to score a touchdown in the first, during when we went all the way down in the first half, what I mean? But then we had to settle for a field goal. And I'm like, man, we were so close. And then,
Right.
New Orleans, Andy Dalton is throwing it down and, it's just, they're playing like, man, they're going to win. And then, and then I saw the play call today. When I was checking out, a video from Rondé Barber. He was dissecting like the game-winning drive that we had, and New Orleans actually, if they would have gotten a first down on that play that Andy Dalton threw to Mark Ingram. If they would have gotten a first down, game would have been over. But they miscalculated. He miscalculated by 1 yard, and actually we were able to make a defensive type of play, that following play, and stop him from scoring, from gaining any more yardage, and we took over
Right.
But it's, I want us to. Obviously, we can't really fix it like let's it's going to be perfect this coming game because we are playing a tougher opponent, which is
Right.
San Francisco. You know what I mean? Like, they have Debo Samuel, they have so many good players, but gentlemen, it's we got to go game by game, like Musab was saying earlier. I agree with what he was saying. We have to go game by game and fight.
Right. Yeah. So it sounds kind of like you were like, I'm kind of in agreement. I'm definitely in agreement with you. It's definitely tough to just go all hurry up because especially when you're playing the San Francisco 49ers because they have the best defense in the NFL. So you can't just implement this whole new style of offense just in 1 week. That's really difficult to do. And I think that's a really great point that you made, Santiago. Definitely something that I'm sure a lot of people don't really think about. And, they're more like, oh, well, it's a knee-jerk reaction. Like, oh, they're scoring in the final 2 minutes of game, so why not just go hurry up all the time? And like, well, yeah, sure, in an ideal situation, but the offense hasn't been run that way. So Musab, how about you? How do you feel? Do you think it's are you more with the knee jerk people? Do you think it needs to be implemented now so that by playoff time they're ready? Because I certainly see that. Or do you think that maybe it's in more moderation, a slow, gradual implementation, or maybe not at all? How are you feeling about it, Musab?
It should continue to be a slow, gradual moderation, or whatever you really want to call it. Sometimes I have to think, gentlemen, and I'm just going to keep this brief. We always put her on the players, but does there ever come come a thought in your head maybe that there might have to be some changes in some other fields? Just because I'm thinking, listen, we're working the best with our backups, but how much, I feel like, sometimes people, kind of throw this blame towards the kind of coaching staff. And I wonder if that's something that are you thinking about, or is that something that, whatever, that's just, they're doing their best no matter what. Just because, I've seen, kind of rumors or whatever in the past, especially with those tough losses we have that, for example, I've seen things about Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich, and it just makes me wonder, do you guys kind of have that in your thoughts, or is this something that we're just dealing with because of injuries and just natural causes? This is something I mentioned earlier on before the season started that, I'm not going to be surprised if it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows due to natural things like injuries or sickness or whatever. And this is how it's turning out for us. So I just want to know where your head's at, because for me right now, it's not really about the whole kind of hurry situation. It's more about the execution. The more and more I say, I mean, I really don't want to keep on just abusing that kind of word or whatever, but it's really team chemistry / giving the GOAT Brady as much as time as possible. Thinking about the offense, the defense. Is it perfect? No. We still have our dinks and doinks, but all eyes are on the offense. I have a little better buddy friend, and he loves the unders on Buccaneers games. Especially going against the Saints. He knows, well, clearly the defense is gonna make sure they stop the Saints to the best of their ability. And as of right now, the O is not looking hot. So I like that under Musab. And I said, whatever, I wish you all the best. Make some money. Treat yourself. Indeed. So thoughts, Santiago, Carter?
Yeah, I mean, it's a point because the question, hurry up. But the reason we're asking the question is because we're calling it that position. So it begs the question, if we're taking more decisions out of the coach's hands, like, why are they hired? Why are they still there? That's a great point, we saw. But yeah, Santiago, how about you? You think that this is indicative of the coaching changes that need to be made?
Yeah, man. Everything's gonna go fall back on Todd Bowles. He's the head coach. He is the one. He was great in the Super Bowl as a defensive coach. Now he is in charge of everything. He's the head coach. He's the main man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if he's got to go, he's got to go. Like, what can we do? We're struggling, man. And if but Byron Leftwich, if he can't cut it, I mean, he was great with the Super Bowl because BA was we had BA, we had Leftwich still on offense, and then we have Todd Bowles on defense. So it's like, it's everybody's saying. I remember I was seeing on Twitter, it's a Bucs life. Former Rowdies goalkeeper Jeff Antonella, he was at the game. He was like, man, this brings me. It was like right at halftime. I saw a tweet on Twitter. He was like, man, this is bringing me back to like the old days. To be honest with you, because it was just so rough. It was so rough. Like seeing us trying to score, that one pass that Brady throws, literally, like it was like, Julio Jones like dove for the ball, but he was like literally like a foot. I mean, from cat. It was like. And Jeff Antonella was like, this is like a Bucs life. It was like, oh my God. But, Brady magic, we cannot keep doing, I want us to keep winning. Of course. I'm just saying, like, we cannot always keep it at the end like that. It's just, if it happens, okay, cool. But it's just to be at the edge of your seat like that, not really waiting to move. We want us to be comfortable. We want us to be like, let's win, score a bunch of points and then blow them out, or because we have great players. We have, great player. Everybody knows the Buccaneers right now because of Tom Brady, but because Tom Brady has put light on Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Vita Vea, Leonard Fournette, now Rachaad White. Like Rachaad White, he was on NFL Network. They were interviewing him after the game, like about the touchdown that he scored, and they had been working with that that specific play for such a long time, and they pulled it off and everything. So, gentlemen, it's I want us to keep winning, 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 of course. And if we have to dig it out, let's dig it out. But I want us to we gotta. This is gonna be some like cardiac Bucks football, because it's not scoring a lot. We're not gonna be scoring like 30 points a game. I mean, it's been really, really like playing in the trenches, to be honest with you.
Right, for sure. I mean, it kind of, a lot of people compare them to the old Dungy Bucks teams because they're scoring so few amount of points, but they're also not giving it up. So, I mean, that's kind of brings me to my next point, which is, we've been kind of harping on the negatives, talking a lot about the offense. Are there any positives to take from this game? I mean, they still won. So obviously, there's something there, but other than that, like other than just saying, "Oh, well, they won," I mean, I think for me at least, just to kind of speak on some positives to take from this game, the defense still looks really good. Given I don't, you can't really confidently say whether it's the fact that the defense is playing well or the fact that they played Andy Dalton and the New Orleans Saints, because that certainly plays a huge factor into it. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the one positive you can kind of take, is that the defense still continues to be stout, and hopefully they can kind of carry this momentum into the playoffs. But how about you guys? Are you all seeing any other positives? Musab, we'll start with you this time. What positives can you take from this game moving forward?
Positive is just finishing, really. It was a back and forth dogfight for me. It's always nice seeing a win, of course, but positive wise, I feel like we've already mentioned some things in the past before. Nothing really was standing out other than, it was really nice to just see our offense finish and our defense to kind of come through as well towards the end, or just throughout. They did their best or whatever. They still had their issues, a little bit more in the secondary, of course. But that's really about it for me. I don't know. I mean, this upcoming game is going to be interesting for sure. If anything, if we do win, I think it's going to be real close, because we have some work to do. We have some adjustments to make. This 49ers defense is nothing to play around with. And for that reason, we better be ready. But Santiago, what do you think?
Gentlemen, what I think, as a positive is, I agree with what Musab just said. Musab, of course, finishing, and then, fighting all the way till the end. And that another positive, hey, we were struggling all during the whole game on prime time, right? But we ended up with a positive of, like we were saying, finishing the game in that manner, and the stadium, and then giving a smile to our fan base, whether they were at the stadium, they were at home, and seeing that we're back at 500, and putting a little grain of some little sprinkle of this Florida warm weather, Florida beach sand and stuff like that we can actually be like, hey man, we are the Buccaneers. We have a great we have a great group of guys here, and we can win. We can win. And, we just have to now show it against, the top team in the NFC West, right? For San Francisco, which is, hey, they're the other Bay. We are the Bay. They are the other Bay. They say it's the battle of the Bays, but hey, we're Tampa Bay, baby. Don't forget that. We are gonna go there, and we're gonna beat them, and I know we are. Let's go, baby. Let's go, Bucs. We're gonna raise that flag in Levi Stadium over there in San Francisco. Let's go, boys. I should be on that plane. I'm gonna be on that plane, like on that microphone. Come on, gentlemen, let's go.
Santiago Pombo, you got a future in motivational speaking, my friend. But yeah, I mean, like y'all said, it was encouraging to see them finish, and especially when they have such a tough opponent coming up in the NFC West. They're the division leaders for a reason. It's 49ers. They're always a good team. But you know what else is always really good is getting some merch from the RBLR store. I mean, you're never going to miss. You never have to worry about the 49ers defense or anything like that. All you got to worry about is getting some sick new threads. We've got it all. We got the Rays, Bucks, Lightning, Rowdies gear, all of it. And since it's the holiday season, since we're feeling so generous, let's give the people what they want. Santiago, I know you got a promo code for them. Bless the people for it.
Yeah, I'm going to bless everybody with Cannons, Cannons. Go to shop.rblrsports.com. Ladies and gentlemen, that's shop.rblrsports.com. Cannons, 10% off your whole order. Go right ahead. Look fly, like everybody here. The crew is fly. You know what I mean? For life, RBLR Sports, for life. And, get something for you, your family for the holidays, during the whole season. You know what I'm saying? Get something. Go, go, go.
Indeed. I like it. Well, we've kind of talked about the Saints game, and it was a win. That's the ultimate thing that you can take away from this. But unfortunately, now we have to shift our focus to an incredibly difficult opponent in the San Francisco 49ers. And the Bucs have been battered with injuries this whole season, and they keep coming. So this week, we got to focus on Antoine Winfield Jr., Sean Murphy-Bunting, Mike Edwards. They're all questionable for Sunday. Vita Vea has also been added to that list, unfortunately, just as kind of an injury update. Also, around the division today, it was announced that in the Atlanta Falcons, who are somehow still in second place in the NFC South, they have named Desmond Ridder as their new starting quarterback, the young rookie out of Cincinnati, third-round pick. He's replacing Marcus Mariota. I just wanted to hear y'all's thoughts because they're a divisional rival, because the Bucs are going to be facing them later on, and it could be a huge game because God knows what games the Bucs may win or lose. So, it's an important game. So moving forward, how do y'all feel about Desmond Ridder as the quarterback for the Falcons? Musab, we'll start with you. How are we feeling about this new change for the Atlanta Falcons, and how does it impact the Bucs moving forward?
Well, we'll see how it works out. It's a young Buck. Got to put in his work. We'll see how it turns out. Let's see how he adjusts into the kind of NFL world. I'll see after this game how I feel, but hopefully, I have to say, fortunately, we are blessed to be in the division we are right now. The fact that we have scraped through at least one win against the Saints was really our big worry. I think we'll be ready to just keep on dominating our division. So I think we'll get that opportunity to make it in the playoffs, of course, as well. And hopefully we also continue to defeat our other opponents. But I don't know. That's really about it for me. I don't know. I don't see anything special at Desmond Ridder. Didn't hear too much from him beforehand.
Right.
But he was on the Saints beforehand, right?
He was in Cincinnati.
He went to Cincinnati. Okay.
He went to the University of Cincinnati. He was drafted in the third round by Atlanta this year.
Okay, I'm thinking about someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're good. He's a third round pick for a reason. He was not a first round pick. There have been plenty of good third round picks in the world in the NFL that came from the quarterback position. But we'll see. Santiago, how about you? You feel differently?
Well, it's kind of like somebody like what we have as a backup. Kyle Trask. We were drafted him. Like in an early round, right? Second round, and he's unproven at the moment, right? And same thing with Ridder. Like he hasn't proven yet anything. He hasn't had an actual snap in a live game in the NFL. So this is much more. It's a lot more, fast paced. It's a lot more faster as a pace than college football. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, he's unproven at the moment. So, but I just want the Bucs to keep winning.
For sure. Yeah, that's the main focus is on the Bucs, but definitely worth mentioning, a division rival makes a QB change in the middle of the season. It's not drastic because it's the Falcons and they're going to be crappy regardless, but it's certainly worthy of note. But yeah, so now we'll shift our focus back to the important game. The Bucs are taking on the 49ers, obviously, as we've mentioned this weekend on Sunday in San Francisco. It's really difficult. I have San Francisco on both of my fantasy football teams, and they are ridiculous defensively. They're number one in the NFL in scoring and total yards per game given up. It's going to be really low scoring, especially because the Bucs defense is pretty solid and the 49ers are running out Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy out there. So, we'll start on the defense versus the offense, because that's kind of what everyone's going to be looking at. The 49ers defense versus the Bucs offense. So, I mean, what do the Bucs have to do to make sure that it doesn't come down to another game-winning drive? Assuming that they win this game, how do they jump out ahead? How do they get off to a good start? Do they run, no huddle? Do they maybe call a lot more running plays to start the game? I mean, what solutions do you see the Bucs having for this really, really good 49ers defense? Musab, we'll start with you. What can the Bucs do to kind of counteract this amazing 49ers defense?
I'm thinking, honestly, at least throw them off in the beginning of the game. Okay, have a little different approach. Have a little bit more of that kind of, fast-paced hustle approach. I'm not saying we should do it throughout the whole game, but I definitely do think that we should start out fast-paced a little bit more, kind of throw them off. This team's coming in hot, and more importantly, I just hope that this week, we kind of reflect and get that kind of team chemistry going on. Focus on just doing whatever it takes to kind of just keep the ball moving. You know what I'm saying? Instead of kind of going for long drives, even when the opportunity looks a little bit good, we have to get those yards as well. So that's really about it. But the big thing for me is definitely kind of change the pace, I have to say, in the beginning of the game, of course.
Okay. Yeah, don't wait until the very end to get going. I like that. Don't wait until the very end to push the tempo. Maybe get some fast break points to change sports a little bit there. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be really, really nice to see, just because, it's not something that the Bucs have done very much other than the 2-minute drives. So it would be kind of a nice change of pace. Santiago, how are you feeling about it? You kind of feel the same way as Musab and myself?
We have to actually, we have to play smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can. Do I want to see? I just want us to in the red zone to be, instead of going for 3. I want us to, I want us to play smart and see if we can, actually score a touchdown on that first drive.
For sure.
Yeah, I really do. And it's just like, and if we can do that, because we have struggled so much, then I think that's going to set off a momentum for us to be like, hey, we can score. We can definitely, it's just step by step. Because
Right.
I really, man, like, I know we were just talking about the Saints game, but like I said before, that first drive versus Saints, it was like we got all the way down and we were like, we're so close. And it's like, settle for a field goal. Okay, let's play defense and hold and then see. But San Francisco, their first place in their division, they have a winning record. With Jimmy Garoppolo going down before he injured his foot, everybody on ESPN, everything, they were calling them to go to the Super Bowl. Now that Brock Purdy's in playing, that's like, can they make it? Yeah. But, we'll see, but I honestly want us to, gentlemen, I want us to score more points. I want us to, when we get to the prediction part, I hope that prediction that I make, I hope we can make that as a goal to get there, to be honest with you.
Okay, I see. Speaking it into existence. I feel you get to make it come to fruition. So you obviously want them to score a touchdown on the first drive. That's obvious. You always want them to do that. But how do they get there? How do you kind of not just selling? Think it's up tempo? Do you think maybe they go down when they get into the red zone? What?
If it's so, just this is what I can see. Okay, if we're very close enough to the end zone, and let's say we're 4th down and 1, right? I honestly, even if it's maybe early in the game, like if we're at like the 3-yard line, 2-yard line, for example. I'm not saying the 5 because that's still of a distance, but if we're closer, I want us to go for it. I want us to go to see if we can just make that play and run it into the end zone. Have Rachaad White run it in. And, that's what I want us to do. I want us to be more, attack minded. I want us not to be scared of throwing it, of being afraid, like, man, we're that close. I want us to go, 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 go.
So it sounds like you want them to play less like they're coached by a defensive-minded head coach and more like they're coached by an active.
Exactly. You're right. Because we were last year so good. Now it's this year. But I mean, yes, exactly. I want us to. I understand we're super known as a team for our defense. I get it. But I want us to be explosive with our offense. We have Mike Evans. We have Chris Godwin. We have,
Sure.
we have young tight ends. Cade Otton. I mean, Koki. But yeah, they're rookies. But hey, we don't have Gronk. But guess what? We can definitely. They are, man, those two gentlemen right there, Kadon and Kokeef, bro, they have been thrown in there and
Right.
they have gotten so much experience game in and game out that, I have actually respected these gentlemen because they are,
A lot of faith in them.
a lot of faith in them,
And they're great.
they're young men that have grown to be NFL players.
Yeah, so I mean, they're definitely targets that you can go to when you're going for it on fourth down in the red zone, something like that, just to push the envelope a little bit. I definitely feel you. Yeah, it's a great point. They definitely need to be more aggressive in the red zone, it seems like, because they've had such a lack of success in that part of the field. The field shrinks, and it just seems like the Bucs do the same thing. They shrink too. So yeah, it's definitely tough to watch that kind of thing. So now we'll kind of switch gears and look at the other side of the ball because obviously I think it's going to be a low scoring affair. So the Bucs defense has to step up as well because the 49ers got some weapons. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, Debo, George Kittle. There's some ridiculous playmakers on that offense. They are with third string quarterback Brock Purdy, the Mr. Irrelevant, but how can they take advantage of his inexperience? How can they take advantage of the fact that he is a rookie, he's a seventh round draft pick? Do they blitz more? Do they maybe play more coverage? Do they try to, stuff the running game? I mean, how do y'all think that they can try to take advantage and make this guy a little nervous? Usab, we'll start with you. How do you think they accomplish this?
The big thing is just firing all cylinders, when it comes to the defense side, of course. Give it our best, and especially in the start. I feel like, maybe, they're having their own kind of issues / they have their own holes to fill, of course. And for that reason, we should take advantage of that, especially on the defensive side. This is our opportunity to stop a hot team because, they got a defense of their own. And that's really about it, though. We had to throw them off, communicate, of course. But, it's obviously a little unfortunate knowing, the news that you've informed us, Carter, with Antoine Winfield and even Vita Vea, of course, being questionable right now. We'll see what goes on right now. But this is big. Defense is big, I have to say, when it comes to this game. We know what our offense is like. We know what our offense needs to do. It's kind of clear and evident, but our defense, we know that they're fiery. They've had their ups and downs, but now more than ever, I mean, looking at the fact that we scraped the win, so we still have that potential to keep on continuing on, with this little win streak after the bye week. And this is important for the defense. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at all the guys, especially our D-line, to come through. Hopefully our captains come through big time as well. And, shout out to D. White, Levante David, the whole D-line. This is where I'm expecting these guys to really apply that pressure. Is our secondary going to do good? I hope so. But it's only going to be because our D-line was really, really applying that pressure. So we have to start out hot. Seriously, we have to do something a little bit different than usual. I don't know exactly what you want to call it, but the strategy, the way to pump up these boys before the game, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It has to be a little bit different.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe knock him on his butt a couple times. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Definitely get in his head. Remind him, hey, this is the NFL. You're playing the Tampa Bay Bucs. They run that Tampa 2 defense. They've Monty Kiffin. They got some dogs. So they gotta remind Brock Purdy of what's going on. What the deal really is. This isn't the Dolphins defense. They got some monsters up on that defensive line. So yeah, I'm definitely with you. Definitely come out and just kind of give him a rude awakening, so to speak. Everyone's kind of, oh man, maybe he's got a shot. It's Mr. Irrelevant. It's a comeback story. Like, no, come on now. Like, he was a 7th-round pick for a reason. Let's knock him on his butt and welcome him to the NFL. So Santiago, how about you? How do you think Brock starts with pressure?
Yeah, we have to, man, I want us to, let's say we get the ball in the first half, I want us to get good, in the kickoff return, I want us to get some good yardage, and, and then start off, just passing the ball and honestly being effective in the run game, having Rashad White get some good yardage, possibly up the field, I want us, our offensive line to open up holes for him, because they have some big boys up in the front, Obviously, Brock Purdy, he's getting all this attention because of the win that he just recently had. But yeah, you're right. He's a 7th-round pick. And, he's an NFL player. Yeah, he's Mr. Irrelevant. And, we definitely have to, bring him down to put his feet on not put him up in the sky like a super, great quarterback, because he has great players around. He has Deebo Samuel, he has George Kittle. When you have when you have Pro Bowl players around you, they're going to make you better. But what do we have to do? We have to stop those players, and we have to play our game. We have to play Bucs ball. We know that Tom Brady's going to be super hyped about this game because he was, his childhood team were the 49ers. He's a California kid. He's even said that, his parents, he went to high school in that area. So, he really wants to win this game big time. Like, it's just like, hey, I wanted to play for your organization. I grew up, idolizing Joe Montana, and I grew up idolizing Steve Young, and I wanted to play for your organization. And you guys passed me 6 times. And I went to Boston. Now I'm in Tampa. And guess what? I'm going to win. I'm going to show you why I'm the greatest of all time. That's what I'm going to do. And we're going to win that game.
All right. I love the confidence as usual. Sounds like Santiago's kind of on the same page as the both of us. Musabi's, although he leaned a little bit more on the offensive side, maybe make Brock Purdy play from behind. That's actually, it's a great idea because, obviously in an ideal world, that's what happens anyways. But, especially with a rookie QB, you definitely want him to feel that pressure, feel the intensity of the game. So we've kind of talked this game to death. We'll get into some predictions, some score predictions. Musab, we'll start with you. How do you think this game's going to end? Final score? Who do you think's going to win?
Oof, this one is tough. I really have to say. It could be real ugly or it could be real close. Man, my mind is telling me a few things, Carter and Santiago, and I have to say, gentlemen, I think it's going to be a close game loss. I'm thinking 28-24 49ers.
Wow. Okay. All right. Hey, I like the realism. I'm always keeping it.
I have to say, the way I see it play is just that, we start off hot. We have our dinks and doinks in the middle of the game or whatever. And in the end, it just we're not able to kind of run away with it, really. I don't know. We have to be kind of real. That's my approach. That's what I'm thinking. We have to be real. We have to look at, who you playing and, where we're at right now. We just scraped through a win. If we do get a win, I have to say, guys, it's going to be real, real close. Real close. No way this is going to be a nice little walk in the park. Of course, I think we all know that. This is common sense. But, no, I'm still going with 28-24. I think the 49ers will win. Yeah, it's going to be tough. And it's tough to swallow and tough to admit that, but that's my hot take. I have to say this is going to be a dog fight if we make it. If we make it. Make it a dog fight. Yeah. But Santiago, being the optimistic Buccaneers fan you are, tell me, you think Brady's going to come through for the boys again?
Yes, I do. And I believe that the Bucs are going to win, gentlemen. And you know what? We're going to win 20-17.
Okay. 20-17. I like it. Well, yeah, like Musab mentions, Yeah, it's really tough. We're not a Bucks PR team here. We're not here to say, oh, the Bucks are doing wonderful, because let's be honest, they're not. They're a 500 team for a reason. It had to come down to a game-winning touchdown drive against Andy Dalton and the New Orleans Saints, and they're facing the San Francisco 49ers, the best defense in the NFL, and the number one team in the NFC West. Got to be real. I'm with Musab. I think they're going to lose. I think they're going to lose 14-10. I think it's going to be a real close game, but also a really low-scoring game, just because you're dealing with Brock Purdy, who just has, it's his second NFL game. He was a seventh-round pick, and he's their third-string quarterback. It's only his second week of game planning and, practicing with the starters. I think the game plan is going to be a little more limited than they'd like, and the Bucs defense is pretty good. And on the other side of the token, the Bucs offense is awful, and the 49ers defense is really good. I think Nick Bosa might end up with 3 or 4 sacks on Sunday, just because he's either going to be lined up against Donovan Smith or Josh Wells, and I do not like either one of those matchups. I hate to end it on a bad note, but that's just kind of how it is. That's kind of how it is. But hopefully, thank you all. First of all, I want to thank you all for listening. It's been a pleasure having y'all on. It's been a pleasure talking with my two co-hosts, Santiago and Musab. Thank you for sitting with us and talking some Bucs football with us. That was an accidental slip there. That was not intentional, but it's hopefully we're coming on with better news next week. Hopefully me and Musab are wrong. Hopefully we come on and say, wow, the Bucs are great. They dominated offensively, but unfortunately we don't think that's the case. But regardless, thank you for listening. Hope you can like and subscribe. That's free wherever you're listening, Spotify, YouTube, various options. But thank you so much for listening, and as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.